The concept of strength training for women is thankfully becoming more commonplace. However, strength training as a term encompasses 7 different types of strength, and that's what I'm going to be talking about with you today. So not only what the types are, it's what we use them for in everyday life and how through exercise we can develop them. Because naturally, as we age, our strength in all these areas diminishes as our muscle mass diminishes, and that has an impact on our ability to live everyday life well. Okay. So our first type of strength that we're going to explore is called starting strength. And starting strength is our ability to move from being stationary. So examples of this when we'd use it day to day would be you're sat on the sofa, you've had a little bit of a Netflix watch, and then you need to get up. So you are still, and then you need to go from a stationary position up into standing. And it's our strength and our ability to make that movement. Another example is when if we've been sat on the floor with children or you're chilling out, and then you need to get from the floor back up. And you may have noticed already that your the speed and how long it takes you to do this may have diminished. If you see a child get up from a sofa, they seem to do it in 0.2 of a second, and you're like, whoa. So it does diminish with age. However, by doing movements such as squats and lunges, where we're going from a stationary position into exercise, this helps us develop in turn our starting strength. Next up is endurance. So endurance is our ability to hold and carry weight for an extended period of time. So times when we'll need that in everyday life, take the big shop, yeah? So we always want to carry all the bags at once. It's just so much easier in theory, isn't it? But you're trying to carry all those bags, or you're going on holiday, you've got loads of different bags, and you need to move with them or to hold on to them for a period of time. So endurance strength is needed for that. Carrying a child's another one. So the way that we would develop our endurance strength is that we would use weights. However, they would be a relatively lightweight, so one that we're not struggling with, but we do a longer workout with them. And that creates that ability for our muscles to be working for an extended period of time. So endurance. Agile strength is next up on our strength list. And this is, we see particularly a decline in this as people get older, which is one of the reasons why there's like slips, trips and falls work done with pensioners, because the frequency that they fall is quite significant and leads to broken bones, etc. So agile strength is our ability to either turn in direction and not fall, to balance on one leg, and to be more stable. And our stability as we get older also diminishes, which is why we ideally we need to work on this. So the ways that we would work on it, types of exercises that lead to this are skater jumps, where we're hopping from one side to the other, single leg jumps, which develop our ability to move and to shift our weight without falling over. Maximum strength is probably the one that's most sort of thought about when it comes to strength training, and this is the type that you'll see powerlifters do. So that's where we've got the barbells out, or the massive big dumbbells, and it'll be very much a low rep count, so maybe 1 or 2 of a maximum weight. Now you might think, well, I don't want to be a power lifter, and that's fine. This isn't a powerlifting program, but you do need to lift, yeah? So one Sunday afternoon, you think, I really don't like the layout of this room. You need to move your sofa, you need to move your bookshelf, or if it's your bedroom, you need to move your bed. Can you do that at the moment without calling someone else for help or without potentially pulling you back? Because that's what maximum strength is. It's our ability to move heavy objects, lift them and move them safely without doing ourselves in. So the way that we would develop that strength is by using heavier weights. Don't think big barbells or anything like that, but for a lower rep count. So it might be 1, 2, 3 or 4 of an exercise rather than for time or lots of volume. So max strength is really important, even if you don't want to be a power lifter. Explosive strength is next. So explosive strength's often thought of, if you think of like a footballer and he's to turn quickly. And people like that will do a lot of explosive strength training. But for us in everyday life, there will be times in life. I remember when Thomas was little, he used to run off, he actually still does, all the time. And I needed to literally turn around and grab him and get him out of a road, for example. You might need to duck out of the way of something. Yeah, someone lobs a ball, they didn't mean to. You need to quickly get out of the way of it, probably a small child. And our explosive strength is our ability to recruit our muscles quickly and move. And that type of explosive strength is needed. And you might find that you already feel that you're moving a little bit slower in life. The way we would develop explosive strength is doing things like jump training. You know, as a child, we jumped loads. I did. How often do we jump now? Most people avoid trampoline parks, usually due to pelvic floor, but our ability to press from the ground and jump, single-legged, double-legged, is a way to relatively easy develop that type of strength. Speed comes up next, and our ability to move at a pace. And this is definitely, the pace of our movements are definitely something that we see slowing down as we age. And particularly if we look at old age pensioners, the movements become almost a shuffle, don't they? So everything starts to slow down. So if we don't work on this as a strength and think about trying to retain that, then it is potentially going to affect us. So ways that we can develop speed. I'm not going to suggest you all go sprint training, though if you're a runner, sprint training is excellent for speed. But things like doing interval workouts. So interval workouts, you will be doing one on the program, when you have, say, 40 seconds in a minute to do squats. And during that time, we want to do as many squats as possible, but safely. So what we're doing there is we're exercising at speed, at a pace, but doing it safely. And that's how we develop our speed strength. Last but not least, because it encompasses all of them, is our relative strength. Now, relative strength is, as a human, in relation to my body size, my body mass, how strong am I? So we know that our muscle mass is declining as we age. If we do strength training, we can try and we will negate that so we can retain our strength. And relative strength looks at the proportion of that. So how relatively strong am I? And we can assume a lot in relative strength. So people will often look at a bigger build person and think they are stronger. But obviously it depends on their muscle mass. I know personally when I ever get a delivery guy, he's always like, oh, you won't be able to lift that parcel. Anyway, so yeah, relative strength encompasses all the others. Now, in sharing this with you, I don't want to blow your head and for you to think, oh gosh, Emma, I now have to train 7 different types of strength and how am I going to possibly do that? Because it's not about that. This isn't about having 7 different types of workout a week. It's about awareness of why we would use resistance. So our body, our dumbbells, our kettlebells, our resistance bands in a workout, and why it's important that as women and as we age, that we are aware that strength training isn't just about going, I want to lift a heavier dumbbell, which in itself is great. You know, it's really empowering when you move on to a heavier weight, but it goes beyond that. It goes to actually, if we strength train and if we focus on that, then in turn, we can move better in life, yeah? And we can function better. Life will be more comfortable because we can get up from the floor. We can get up from the sofa. We can move the bed and the bookcase if we want. We can lift our shopping. We can lift a box. You know, we can move, save a kid from the road. It's all those, so what we call our functional fitness, and it's all those that will have a really positive impact. We won't trip over and fall and potentially fracture or break a leg, arm or whatever. All of those are reasons why, as well as the pure enjoyment of strength training, because it is totally empowering, that we would explore this and do this type of exercise, because it benefits your quality of life. And the stronger we can keep ourselves for the extended period, the higher quality of life we will have in years to come.